Welcome to Speak for Yourself. It's Marcellus Wiley 1 and Emmanuel Acho. Neil. Talking that soccer talk. All right, let's get to our top story brought to you by Popeyes. Mac and cheese. That's right, Mac Jones. Tried a new and improved recipe today. History was made in the Garden last night. Oh, yes, it was. Steph Curry on the shot, boy. Needed 2 3-pointers to pass Ray Allen for the most all time. And he got it done early in the first quarter. It was followed by a celebration on the court. And after the win, Steph was asked about being the greatest shooter of all time right now. And he said, quote, "I've got that, baby." So, Acho, what does the three-point record do for Steph Curry's legacy?
So, I was thinking about it, and I was like, everybody's saying he's the greatest shooter of all time. We understand that. But I had to take it a step further. I was like, I think Steph Curry is pound for pound the greatest basketball player of all time. When you go pound for pound. When you talk about the top 10 best players ever, you might hear Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Wilt, Russell, Kareem, Magic, Shaq, Tim Duncan, Bird. You'll hear names like that. But those 10 names I just mentioned, on average, composite, 6'10", 240 pounds. Again, when you're talking about Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Wilt, Bird, Magic, Russell, Shaq, Duncan, etc. But then you got Steph at roughly 6'3", 215. Not only the greatest shooter of all time, but I think pound for pound, the greatest basketball player of all time. Typically, we have given that throne to Allen Iverson for several reasons. He changed the game.
Yes.
But outside of our affection for Allen Iverson, which we predominantly collectively share, Steph Curry, as far as a basketball player, his resume, it speaks for itself. He's truly in competition with no one as it pertains to being pound for pound the greatest player. We have to think about who Steph Curry is. Unanimous MVP. First, check. Back-to-back MVP, check. Holds a three-point record, check. Holds a record for most wins in a season, check. I mean, Steph Curry's checklist is up there right behind Michael Jordan, right behind LeBron James, right behind Bill Russell. But his checklist of NBA accomplishments, it can really stand neck and neck with everyone except for 2 to 3 players. So, what does it do for Steph Curry's legacy? Steph's legacy didn't need much, if anything, but it definitely solidified him as the greatest shooter. We know that. But in my mind, Steph Curry, pound for pound, the greatest basketball player we have ever seen.
Woo! I feel the shift. I can feel it right now. I know I'm in L.A. and earthquakes happen all the time, but I can feel the shift in this conversation. But let me just stay still right now and give him his flowers. What does this do for Steph Curry's legacy? It certifies it. Think about it. Going around hearing, and he heard it early, some say prematurely, that he was a part of the greatest shooting tandem of all time, greatest backcourt shooting tandem of all time, him and Klay Thompson. Remember, that was the first report of Steph Curry in the league being that guy. When Monte Ellis was the point guard and Steph Curry was still figuring it out, trying to find his way, never eclipsing 20 points a game. We knew he was special, but we were waiting for it to really pop. Then they trade Monte Ellis. All of a sudden, Steph goes to the point guard position like he did his junior year in Davidson. And you look up and you're like, oh, we got something special here. Oh, now I know why Mark Jackson said he's the greatest shooter of all time. But that's a lot of talk. And then Steph Curry goes out there and sets the single-season record for three-pointers. All of a sudden, you start to get these stepping stones to your greatness, to your legacy. But this certifies it. Look, Steph Curry is not only the greatest shooter of all time through talk and rhetoric, but actually because he has the most three-pointers made. And think about it, most three-pointers made, but also the third most attempts. That means efficiency. Steph Curry talked about that, how that's his pride and joy. Now, it's me talking about Steph. You know I hold my breath. I ain't got too long to giving him his flowers before I grab in his back pocket some dirt. And it's time to talk about this.
Already? Can you wait one more lap?
Okay, you know what? I respect my co-host. He got the fresh cut right now. He want to just make sure he gets some YouTube clips out on Steph Curry.
I'm going to lead you
because
there.
you know
I'm going to lead you there.
This is not everything that is advertised to be. But let's talk about it. All right, go ahead. Let me hear.
That's why I respect you.
You know I'm going to go. Let's go.
Before you get there, let me lead you there. Let me give you a reason to be upset. Let me prompt you. Right?
You ain't the only one gave me a reason, but yes.
Growing up, my dad, if I was ever crying, in my mind, it was valid. But if I was crying, my dad would say, "I'll give you a reason to cry." You know what I'm saying? If I'm crying for a reason he deems invalid, he'll give me a reason to cry. Let me at least give you a reason to be upset at Steph. Steph Curry is the most selfless superstar we've ever seen in sports. That's what I witnessed yesterday. I see Steph Curry like I think of Larry Fitzgerald, the top 5 receiver of all time, but we never think about Big Larry because he was just that selfless. I look at Steph Curry, I think of Tim Duncan. Steph Curry is the most selfless superstar our game has ever seen. Steph is legitimately the best at something. We are far too loose-lipped with the GOAT. The GOAT. We got a GOAT for everything. We got several GOATs. But Steph is legitimately the greatest shooter of all time, and that's not up for debate. Based on his efficiency and based on the metrics, he's the greatest of all time. But continually, he will either take a backseat, a secondary seat, to and for the sake of winning. Again, so when I thought about this yesterday, and this is when you're going to get upset.
Okay.
When I thought about what Steph did yesterday, it really reminded me, like, this dude, Steph Curry, got 3 chips. He has no finals MVPs, but clearly, it's become abundantly clear Steph Curry could have anything he wanted on the basketball court. He's just chosen what he wants to have and what he doesn't want to have. Steph Curry has, I only believe, 2 scoring titles. Steph Curry could definitely have more than 2 scoring titles if he wanted to. He had a scoring title at 33 years of age. Steph Curry could have more than 2, but he's like, you know what? It doesn't behoove me to go up and jack 40 shots a game, go jack up 40 shots a game. It doesn't behoove the team to go jack up 30 shots a game. I could if I wanted to. I'm reminded of Kevin Durant goes on the Warriors.
Oh, see, don't do that. Don't talk about him. Not yet.
Kevin Durant goes on the Warriors. And Steph Curry, who is clearly the greatest shooter of all time, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, will land higher on the list than the likes of these other players, Kevin Durant. Steph Curry takes a back seat for the greater good of the Warriors.
He took it?
Took a back seat.
Or Kevin Durant had the keys.
It was an action verb.
And he said, I got shotgun.
An action verb. Steph Curry took a back seat for the greater good of the Warriors. So when I was watching that game last night, it confirmed what I already knew, but Marcellus tries to make me doubt. Steph Curry could have whatever he wants in the NBA, including finals MVPs.
Oh, really?
The biggest knock on Steph Curry's career is his lack of finals MVPs. And when I saw him yesterday realizing, wait, this is the greatest shooter ever. You telling me he couldn't have a finals MVP? But for the greater good of winning, he didn't and doesn't. That's what was confirmed for me yesterday.
Okay, I get it. You just wanted to be the one to light the firework. You wanted to be the one who goes, come on, Wally. Bah! We here now. All right, let's talk about this. You brought up Kevin Durant's name. Too early for that. Okay.
Skip did yesterday first.
Well, let me reply like Kevin Durant did. I don't like you, Acho. KD, keep being KD out here on and off the court. I love that guy. Okay. Steph is bigger than the reward and the award he just received. The reward was, wow, we can certify you now as the greatest shooter of all time. And we don't even have to have the conversation anymore because sometimes people want to say, well, different eras, different guys, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, et cetera. You're certified, right? You're the made man in terms of shooting. You're the greatest shooter of all time. The award is most three-pointers made. Respect. But if Steph is bigger in terms of his legacy, in terms of his stature as a player, than the record he just accomplished, why are we trying to make so much attention and noise about the record he just accomplished? Twofold. One, this wasn't even a thing in the old era. This wasn't even a thing in the golden era. It is now a thing, but because the NBA knows this is the way the game goes, the three-point line, they're trying to make this more than it actually is. You don't believe me? People always think I'm a hater when I tell the truth too early. You don't believe me? Who was at the game celebrating this award with him? Mama was there, right? Daddy was there. Who? And they're not even together, so you know they thinking, okay, because Dale like, look, I helped make them. I'm the one in junior high told him, hey, Steph, you know what you need to do? Get a short, quick release because they're going to come get you. You're not 6'4" like Daddy. You don't look like you're trending that way. You know what? Daddy the same one who said also, you need to play point guard. You need to be a hybrid. You need to be a little bit of Steve Nash, and you need to be a little bit of Reggie Miller. You need to be a point guard and off guard, okay? Shooting guard. Daddy was there. Mama was there because Mama's like, 9 months, baby. That's me every day in every way. But was wifey there? Now, wifey's always there. Be there, see there, Mama there, P there, Aisha there. No Limit Records song. Anyway, see, somebody caught it. Point being, Aisha always there. Why wasn't Aisha there? Want to know why? Because this is how you talk to your wife. One day you'll get to this place when you talk to your wife. You're like, baby, this is big, this is big. Ain't that big. This is big, this big. You ain't got to show up. I get it. Kids in school, you got things to do. You got your own business. You're an entrepreneur yourself. This ain't that big. Because Steph Curry is bigger than what we just witnessed him accomplish. Now, let's talk about about some of the things you try to bring up. You imagine if I was in the NBA right now trying to take a shot at Steph?
Can do it.
Yes, you could. Oh, you just broke Ray Allen's record. Now, this is no shot at Ray Allen, but Ray Allen was a great specialist. But is Ray Allen an all-time great? Got quiet over there. So you broke, not an all-time greats record. Oh, you broke a record that really wasn't even in existence a decade or two ago because no one cared about it. Here's my point on that. Isaiah Thomas shot 1 3 a game in his career. The most in a season, 2.5. Steph Curry, 8.7 3-pointers a game in his career. Magic, 1. LeBron, 4. Jordan, 1. Reggie Miller, 4. Steph, almost 9. Let's talk about it. What did he really accomplish yesterday? Nothing more to add to how great he is other than the certification. But Steph Curry was already out there practicing as the greatest shooter of all time. To give him a certificate to put on the wall that Aisha don't even care about, yeah, that ain't gonna work.
Oh, no. Do you like my Nigerian brother, Dikembe Mutombo? Let me put y'all on game.
Okay.
Marketing 101 coinciding with business 101. Find a void and fill it.
I like you.
You want to make money in this life?
Oh.
Find a void and fill it. Marketing 101, business 101. Find a void and fill it. What Steph Curry did was what every business and marketing genius strive to do over the course of their careers. They find a void and they fill it. Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards of all time. You just told me he shot 1 3 a game. There's a void there. Michael Jordan, greatest player of all time, arguably. 1 3 a game. Larry Bird, one of the greatest of all time, 4 threes a game. Steph Curry enters the league. There's a void here.
Yes.
Because there is a 3-point line that gives me more points than a layup, a dunk, or a jumper. And I can efficiently score from this distance. Void. I found it. Now I got to fill it. All Steph Curry did was what every business genius, entrepreneur, or marketing guru strive to do. You find the void and then you fill it. Typically, you don't have the talent to do both. Typically, you pay someone to find the void, and then you create the skill or the resource, acquire the resource to fill it. Or someone else finds a void, or someone else, after you have found the void, you pay them to fill it. Steph Curry had the ability to do both. He found the void, Marcellus Wiley, and then he filled the void. Steph Curry just did what we tried to do in life. It's what Uber did. It's what Airbnb did. It's what Elon Musk has done. They've all found voids, and they filled them in order to run multi-billion-dollar corporations. Steph Curry just did that within a multi-billion-dollar corporation, the National Basketball Association.
Hey, I respect that, and you just made my point. The NBA is leaning into this because they see where the money is going to take them, right? And all money ain't good money. But I respect...
I ain't had bad money a day in my life.
Me either. I don't know who made that up. Here's the thing. Steph Curry is pulling this record into his greatness, into his legacy.
That's fair. That's real.
Not this record is pulling Steph Curry into something that he wasn't already existing in. That's my biggest point with this. Let's talk about that, how the NBA leaned into the money. And you see there's a void. Let's go to our sport. I got to get out here quick. I hear you, Coben. Shut up. In track and field, they see a void. They see something that's happening right now in societies all across the world. And they realize we have a void, and they created a new event. Have you watched the mixed relay? Look at your eye roll. Everybody watch his eye roll. Have you seen the mixed relay? It was a void. There's an opportunity. Basically, it's 2 women and 2 men run on the same relay team.
It's terrible.
You know why it's terrible? Because it's just terrible. Not all voids that are going to be marketed are amazing, Acho. This award, respect to him because he's certified, but he was already better than this award. It's just now we got to celebrate it. Coming up, we got a lot more on Steph Curry on the shot, boy. I'll tell you if he's had a bigger impact in the game than LeBron James. What? But first, is Dak Prescott in a slump? I'll tell you if we're worried about the Cowboys star next on Speak for Yourself. Let's head to Dallas, where the Cowboys actually won last week, but Dak Prescott did not shine. Dak had 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. In his last 4 games, he's thrown more interceptions than touchdown passes. Jerry Jones was asked Tuesday if his quarterback is in a slump. Take a listen.
I don't want to say that slump, but that's probably fair. It's such a multifaceted evaluation. But I would say that our offense is definitely away from where we were playing 5 and 6 games ago.
Is Dak healthy?
Yes, he is.
Acho, Worried about Dak Prescott's slump?
Absolutely. And the reason I'm worried, and I believe all Cowboys fans should be worried, is because the Cowboys' aspirations are high this year, higher than normally, right? Usually they're high, but unrealistically high and unrealistically high. Now, no, Cowboys, y'all legit. Y'all been legit from week one. Y'all have surely been legit through your bye week. And now 9 wins through 13, 14 weeks of the season. Y'all are certified. Y'all are legit. So it's time to start forecasting.
Okay.
Noah did not wait till it started raining to build the ark. He did not wait till he felt that drop weighing like, uh-oh, let me get to work. It's time to start forecasting. So Cowboys, start building your figurative ark. Dak Prescott, start building yours. As it stands right now, I might get this a little bit out of order, but I know this much. Cowboys would have to play Matthew Stafford first. Then after playing Matthew Stafford, they would have to play Tom Brady. Then after playing Tom Brady, they would have to play Aaron Rodgers. Matthew Stafford's not in a slump. He balling right now. Tom Brady, last I checked, he's not in a slump. He balling right now. Aaron Rodgers, certainly not in a slump. Only quarterback with more than 25 touchdowns and 4 or less interceptions. You all look for yourself over these last couple weeks of the season. Dak Prescott slumping, but those other quarterbacks have a combined 18 touchdowns and 1 interception over the last 2 weeks of ball. So while Dak Prescott is going one way, all the other quarterbacks he would likely have to face are going another. Doesn't matter right now in early December. We could say no. That's the only true argument is, okay, Acho, he's slumping, but it's irrelevant.
Not the only.
But as I look at it, man, I just don't want to be slumping, particularly if my talent isn't slumping. Unless, and then I'm going to shut up. Unless my slump is intentional. Acho, what the heck are you talking about? Slumps aren't intentional. Certain sports, they are. Sal knows about this just as well, if not better than anybody. Track and field. Before the Olympics, before NCAAs, the collegiate track meet that dictates everything, you will intentionally have a taper period.
Yeah.
You will have a period where you are not supposed to have your peak performance because we are intentionally tapering you off so that you can peak when we want you to peak. What does that mean? That means that at the regional track meet, before the state meet, before the national meet, you might not run your fastest. You might not throw your best. You might not jump your highest, but it's because we got you in the weight room. We're lifting heavier. We're cleaning heavier. We're squatting more. We're bench pressing more. We're maxing now to intentionally make sure that you peak when we want you to peak.
Listen.
I have no problem if Dak was struggling, if it was for some reason an intentional struggle. Rarely ever, though, in football do you ever see or allow intentional struggle.
That part.
Unlike other sports. But this struggle, Sal, it's not intentional. This isn't a, hey, let's taper off Dak to make sure you peak in January and peak in February. This struggle is incidental. That I have a problem with. That I'm worried about.
You're worried about it. Look. I'm not worried about it. He's in a slump, and I'm not worried. I know Jerry Jones doesn't want to say he's in a slump, but he's certainly in a slump. And he's been in a slump before. Welcome to the path of greatness, young man. It comes with ups and downs. And it's obvious and it's evident because even in the full screen, we have to really carve it up to the last 2 weeks. Why? Because all of a sudden we lose one of the participants already, Matthew Stafford. Where'd he go? Because we got to go 3 weeks or beyond. Dak Prescott has been struggling since the calf injury. Let's be real, up and down, right? Since week 9, Dak Prescott has been struggling. But even since week 9, we've seen some tremendous performances. Atlanta game, 43 points. Vegas Raiders game, 33 points in a loss, but still good game for Dak Prescott. So even in your slumps, there's still some positives. Let's talk about this. The greatest positive of them all is Dak's character. He's responded to life's adversity. He's resilient. He's a perseverer. And he's going to respond to this adversity as well. One thing I learned from Doug Flutie, of all my teammates, was never bet against a worker. Bet against talent. I've seen too many talented dudes not make it. Never bet against a guy who's working, because he's going to outwork any obstacle and adversity placed in his path. Let me give it to you this way, because Dak Prescott has been here before. And I remind people, Dak Prescott's never had a losing season when healthy, right? Once again, he won't have a losing season this year. Let's go back to 2017 when Dak had 3 games, 0 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, 3 straight games. Jerry Jones pointed that out as well. He responded with the next 2 games, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Let's go back to 2019 when Dak had 3 games, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 82 passer rating. Comes back, 106 passer rating. The next 4 games, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Dak's been here before. Success is not linear. And Dak understands that. So because I'm not going to bet against a guy with this level of character in life or in the football field, Dak Prescott's in a slump, I ain't worried.
The only reason, Sel, I don't even push back on that. I'm worried. I push back on the concept of not being worried. It's timing, Sel. It's timing,
bad
big
timing?
dog.
Right now?
Yeah, here's why.
Listen.
You stumble out the blocks in a 100-meter race, it's over.
It's wraps.
You stumble out the blocks in a 400-meter race, you'll be all right. You trip in an 800-meter race, you don't come out of blocks. But if you trip in your first step, it's irrelevant. Because how much leeway, how much room do I have to make up for my errors? We're in the back stretch of this race. It's now 100 meters left in this football season.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott is stumbling. So I'm worried because now I'm looking at Dak and I'm like, this ain't the time to stumble. Dak, do this week 1 or week 2 like Aaron Rodgers did week 1 against the Saints. I ain't really tripping. Tom Brady week 4 against the Patriots. I ain't really tripping.
Talk to me.
But week 14, week 13, you want to struggle? And our only great games we can hang our hat on against the Atlanta Falcons, the 31st worst defense, or the 2nd worst defense in football, let me simplify it for you, or the Las Vegas Raiders, the 4th worst defense in football. Like, if that's all we can hang our hat on, that's why I'm worried. Otherwise, it's really a matter of incubated, looking at Dak Prescott isolated, not tripping. Dak, you can rebound. But we can't look at Dak Prescott isolated, nor we can look at him incubated. We have to look at him in totality. What's his competition doing? I don't care if Dak's struggling, if everybody's struggling. I don't care if you stumble out the blocks. Did everybody slip out the blocks? Acho, you didn't tell me it was raining outside. You didn't tell me everybody stumbled.
Yeah.
But wait, it's 75, sunny, and Dak, you stumbled? Okay, did Stafford stumble? He ain't stumble. Did Rodgers stumble? Oof, he ain't. Did Brady stumble? They ain't Now I'm like, it means more that you are stumbling right now in the season. Can Dak recover? Sure.
Yeah.
But can he recover in time?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Oh, man, let's get into the level of genius that we both have in track and field, because you don't always have to stumble out the blocks to not have a good start. And let's talk about that. Remember when DK Metcalf was racing as a professional track runner? Didn't we text that morning? And I remember telling you, because I saw a video of his start, he didn't stumble out. I said, with that start, he about to get smoked. I remember telling you, I said he's going to run like a 10.37. What did he run? A 10.37 without stumbling. All I'm telling you is there's teams out there, good teams, great teams, Patrick Mahomes. He ain't stumbling anymore. He just ain't getting out like he normally gets out. We'll see how that plays going forward. Coming up, Jackson State really went prime time today. I mean, big time. We have a lot to say about Deion Sanders getting one of the top recruits in the country. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. Let's get that. Let's get to that. Elite quarterbacks take center stage on Thursday Night Football as Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs take on Justin Herbert and my Chargers. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox, NFL Network, streaming on Prime Video, or My Season Tickets. Now let's get to some huge news in college football. 5-star DB Travis Hunter flipped on his commitment to Florida State and will now be joining Deion Sanders at Jackson State. Hunter is one of the top recruits in the country, and conflicting reports say he has reached an NIL deal with Barstool Sports and Penn National Gaming that is rumored to be in the millions. So, Acho, what's your reaction to Hunter's NIL deal and move to Jackson State?
Man,
Here we go.
Deion Sanders, phenomenal job. My reaction is this. Deion Sanders has the potential and ability now to shake up the landscape of college football. One, Deion Sanders leveraging his name, but also leveraging his ability and his relationships with Barstool, potentially, these are some of the rumors, to help land Travis Hunter, the #1 rated prospect by many recruiting sites, to help land him at Jackson State. Huge for Deion.
Speak on it.
My second thought, though, is the NIL made this possible. Bro, I don't think the NIL realized what they were doing, but what the NIL did was provide insurance to highly rated players who want to go to HBCUs. The risk that Travis Hunter is running by going to an HBCU is, well, my draft stock might diminish, right? Not because my talent will diminish, but the talent I'm going up against will currently diminish. So my draft stock might diminish. If my draft stock diminishes, I'll lose money. However, if because of NIL, Travis Hunter can make 7 figures, then that's insurance. Because if your draft stock diminishes and you happen to lose some money because of your lack of draft status, Well, you made some money on the front end that you might lose on the back end. So my instantaneous thoughts are, it's huge for Deion Sanders, huge for the landscape of college football, and it's also huge for HBCUs. Let's talk about HBCUs for a second.
Okay, I'm with you.
HBCUs emerged after the Civil War just to provide basic human rights to black people, because prior to the Civil War in southern states, black people, it was illegal for them to acquire an education. So HBCUs emerged 1850s, 1860s to provide basic human rights. So HBCUs are behind the eight ball. HBCUs have to emerge because it's illegal for black people to get an education in southern states prior to the Civil War. That's the emergence. Problem, behind the eight ball, because alumni base is bigger at PWIs, predominantly white institutions. Therefore, boosters are bigger and wealthier because in America, you get money by having an education. Number one indicator of wealth is education. So if wealth is higher at PWIs, then boosters are richer, alumni base is larger, and football programs are better. How can you shake that up? Only way you can shake that up if somebody has the courage, Travis Hunter, to go to an HBCU, which doesn't have as large an alumni base, doesn't have as wealthy a booster base, but there has to be a first. Travis Hunter is the first, but it's risky, Travis Hunter, very risky, unless you have insurance. What is insurance? Insurance is NIL. Because Travis Hunter, there is no guarantee that you will get drafted out of Florida State, but there's a higher guarantee that you will be drafted. Because I know Jalen Ramsey, the highest paid cornerback in the National Football League, was a cornerback at Florida State. I don't know about a cornerback that's the highest paid out of Jackson State. I know about one out of Florida State. So there's a risk, Travis Hunter. But NIL, it gives you a more comfortable mattress to lay on. So my thought process, huge for Deion, huge for Hunter, huge for HBCUs. But it is risky, and I'll get to that later.
Okay, all right. I like what you said. Informative. I'm going to say something else.
Talk to me.
Say something different. I'm going to say what I initially felt when I heard this and started to do my deep dive into the transactions at play. The road to a HBCU is paved with good intentions. Here's the problem, though. And on that road, on that course, I'm wondering, is this really your choice, Travis Hunter, or is this your campaign, Travis Hunter? Let's talk about it. Why do I even question if it's his real, genuine choice versus is this something for others to rally behind as a campaign? Well, one, wherever you're going, there you are. And where you're going, Jackson State, is where Deion Sanders, the great, not only as a person, but as a coach so far out there. Only lost 4 games right now. Got him in the championship game in his second year. Deion Sanders is doing his thing. Has had other top recruits come there as well, converted from other Power 5 schools. Deion Sanders, he knows how much I love him and respect him. However, the road to a HBCU is paved with good intentions. Because Deion right now is still interviewing with other Power 5 schools to leave the same place that you're trying to arrive at. Isn't that interesting? Now, I know how the game goes. Go to the HBCU because why? I got to do it for my people. I got to do it to inspire others. Respect, yes, yes. However, the same guy who was there, who was championing that same campaign, is also interviewing with schools like TCU and others to leave that same place. So then we go back to your choice, Big Dog. Was it the best choice? Going to HBCU does not eliminate you from an NFL opportunity. I will argue it doesn't diminish your opportunity. You want to know why? I just seen too many come from there. Whether it's a Hugh Douglas, you go to Steve McNair, you could go to Donald Driver, you could just go Nick Collins, Ben Coates, Everson, like wherever you want to look, HBCU players have made an impact at the NFL level. Now, we get to what your choice is. Now, I was posed with a different set of issues when I made my choice. I had Power 5 opportunities. Love talking to you about this because you went to a Power 5. But I chose not to do something for others, but to do something for myself. And everyone told me the same thing. It's going to diminish your opportunities to make it to the NFL. Well, let's just say I got the best of both worlds. I got a tremendous academic reputation and experience, but more importantly, I still made it to the league. Here's the thing. His choice, sitting there, and we're going to watch the video of this, sitting there committed to 3 Power 5 schools, to all of a sudden knock those out the way to say, now I'm going to Jackson State. Was that really his authentic choice, or was that really for the smoke and the love from others?
That's good.
Tell me.
The answer, we don't know. We'll never know. That's a great question. I think it became his choice, but I think, like you went to Columbia to get your education, but also get to the league.
Yeah.
Right? You ended up doing both. Yeah. Travis Hunter might be going to an HBCU to change history, but also go to the league. Maybe also change history, education league. I don't know the order. I don't know the priorities, but I know this much. He can revolutionize the game, but be mindful.
You said he can or
he can?
Can? Ooh.
He can, but be mindful. One player doesn't change the game, but one player is the beginning of the game being changed.
Okay.
Right?
Respect.
Deion Sanders is saying this could change the game. It could, but it could not. Right? One player, particularly a cornerback, isn't going to make Jackson State a top 25 program in the Power 5 next year. That's not necessarily going to happen off one player. Here's the thing. When it's time to get drafted, and this is my only worry for Travis Hunter, when it's time to get drafted, everybody's looking for reasons to pull you apart. Well, you didn't go to a big-time program. You heard that when you went to Columbia. Everybody hears that. Now, Travis Hunter, you're going to hear that. Who won the Biletnikoff? The award for best receiver in college football. Jordan Addison, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan Addison went to Pitt. Pitt's in the ACC. Where Travis Hunter was going to go to was Florida State in the ACC. You could have lined up against him, assuming he comes back, X, Y, and Z. You line up against him, you shut him down, all of a sudden, that helps solidify your status as a top pick. You're not lining up against any Biletnikoff award winners in Jackson State. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you are not helping your draft status.
Yeah, you're right.
Are you hurting it? I would submit so, because any additional question is a potential knock on draft status.
Yeah.
What was Josh Allen's knock? Didn't have size. He didn't have an arm. He went to Wyoming. Man, we ain't get to see him play against no big dogs. What was Carson Wentz's knock? It wasn't that he didn't have size. It wasn't that he didn't have an arm. It was, but Jared Goff went to Cal. Carson Wentz, he didn't go to a Power 5 program. Oh, Jared Goff goes number 1. Carson Wentz goes number 2. And we've seen how it's played out for both of them. So this will potentially hurt him, but the question is, on the front end, is he making up enough? So here's my question for you.
Let's go.
This is my discussion I've had for myself, but I couldn't wait to hear from you. My fear for Travis Hunter, are you sacrificing 7 figures for 8 figures? That's my fear. That's the question that I'm going to have, because I'm a forward-thinking individual. I don't know if some people want to have it. I know some people just want to rejoice on a day like today. Great for HBCUs, great for Deion, but I forecast.
Yeah.
Are you sacrificing 8 figures for 7 figures? Are you giving up what you want most for what you want now? Why do I say that? Once again, Jalen Ramsey went to Florida State, first-round pick, $100 million cornerback. Derwin James, he went to Florida State. First-round pick. He picked up his 5th-year option. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen to him. He'll end up being one of the highest-paid safeties. I don't know too many first-round picks from Jackson State. I can name Jerry Rice. I can name Walter Payton. I can name Doug Williams. We can name Steve McNair. We can name Donald Driver. But I could also name everybody that got drafted.
Everybody else. The rest of the draft class.
Everybody else.
Exactly.
So my only concern, are we sacrificing 8 figures for 7 figures? It's going to play out. We're going to find out. Clearly, you can be drafted and potentially be drafted high from an HBCU. But that's the only place I'm forecasting now, is how can we make sure that Travis Hunter both gets his 7 figures now and his 8 figures later?
Oh, let me add a concern to that one and address that concern. If you're not doing it for yourself fully to the level that you need to genuinely, this is going to come back to haunt you. And the regret could be financially. The regret could be through experience. The regret could be any other way that you look at this situation differently later than you do right now. Let's talk about that. Is he a 4-year martyr going to Jackson State trying to do something that is greater for others? Or is this truly what he wants to stand on? You have that conversation when you want to pick your school. And if you have good parents, they sit you down and they give you their advice and then they stop. Because you know why? They always hit you with this line. Well, I'm not the one going to classes for you. So, baby, where you want to go is where you ultimately should go. Because I can't do the work for you. And it's interesting. He's going to a place where Deion Sanders is saying, hey, I done rose this from the ashes. Now it's time for me to go out there and get my cream. I find that a little interesting. I see the kid standing for something bigger than himself, and that's a great notion. However, what is that going to do for you in terms of all of that you are choosing in the Jackson State experience? We're going to find out. Let me leave you with this to answer what you were talking about and what I'm talking about. You got to do things for yourself and not for the opinion of others. I'm going to tell you why you have to do that. Because you learn that when you start taking care of people, when you have other people on your payroll or other people that look up to you for advice, etc. You start to learn the difference between, man, I'm looking out for you, and man, I got to do it for you. When you have that responsibility as a leader, you know what you do? You try to open up doors for them, correct? You try to remove hurdles in their path. But removing hurdles in people's path doesn't mean they run faster. And one thing I learned is opening doors for so many people is what? One, do they want to be in the room? And two, are they going to keep the door open and stay in the room? I look at this situation like, man, young man, you're going to open up the door for many others. It looks good. It sounds good. But have you asked yourself that question? Is it for you or is it for them? And do they even want the same opportunities that you're trying to offer them? Because if Dion is trying to go to a Power 5 school, then why did he just say, oh, I could go to a Power 5 school and still have the impact? That's my conversation right there. Something's not adding up in that rub. Doing it for them, not for me, but then it's going to help them. But then what's it going to do for me?
Can we be blunt, though? Let's be blunt. Let's be blunt. Let's be blunt. Let me get blunter. Half the time, 17 and 18-year-olds don't even know what's best for them. I'm going to tell myself, not half the time, the majority of the time.
Okay, let's go.
True story. I am sitting in College Football Hall of Fame, Mac Brown's office. My brother's sitting there. My parents are sitting there. Mac is directly ahead of me. My dad's to my left. My mom is to the left of him. Mac Brown looks at me. So, Emmanuel, I want to offer you a scholarship, University of Texas. You commit? And I sit there, my dad, clenching my arm, waiting for me to say yes. Mom clenching my dad's arm, waiting for me to say yes. My brother's sitting there already committed to Texas. And I just look, because I'm like, I don't want to go here.
You don't want to go?
I didn't want to go. I wanted to go to Michigan. I wanted to play in the Big House.
Oh!
I was like, I didn't want to go here. But my dad wanted me to go because my brother was there. It's 3 hours from the house. My parents wanted me to go. But I was like, I do not want to go here. Matt Brown looks at me. I say nothing. We wait 10 seconds. Awkward. Silence. He looks at me, he says, well, obviously you're not ready to commit. Take some time, think about it. I leave his office. I get in the car with my parents, Sonny and Christy Acho. We get in the car and we drive 3 hours back down. Silent. Just silent.
Yeah.
I felt the disappointment. They look at me like, why would you not commit? I didn't want to do it, but still eventually I wised up and realized, wait, my brother's already there. If I go to Texas, we can do this Acho Brothers thing. My brother wore number 81. I decide to go to Texas, wear number 18, palindrome effect, 8118. And all of a sudden, because of that, both our names ended up being bigger, both in Texas, going to the NFL, and now bigger because my parents, my advisors, made a wiser decision than I was cognitive of making. Had I gone to the Big House, we wouldn't have gone to a national championship. Michigan didn't end up going to a national championship during my college career. There's no Acho, bro. There's no none of that.
Yeah.
So even if this isn't his full decision, if those that have his advisors are advising this young man like, hey, you can change the narrative. You can be the face, the notable figure of HBCUs. We have likes like Oprah went to an HBCU. Kamala Harris went to an HBCU. But these are all people that are 50 plus. Michael Strahan went to an HBCU. Again, these are all cats that are 50 plus. If you can go be the new face, imagine what that can do for your branding going forward, like what Columbia did for you, for your life going forward, not from a branding perspective, from an educational perspective, but still.
Yeah, but to your initial points, that means you're not revolutionizing it. That means you're not changing history, like you said before. What you're doing is just putting your face on something that's already been done. So then that kind of really takes away from what you're saying you're doing because you're not doing anything new. You're not reinventing the wheel. There have been players that have gone to HBCUs and balled the hell out, Hall of Famers. So now it's like, what are you really doing? So then, see, I'm that daddy. I'm like, what you really want to do? Now, don't tell me what you're telling everybody else because who hasn't had that pep rally moment when the mic is on? Woo, everybody, and you're sitting there with your three hats. What he had? The Auburn hat, he had the Georgia hat, and Florida State. And it's amazing that he got poached from Florida State and Dion went to Florida State because Dion know where the body's buried. He's like, hey, man, you really want to do that? Let me tell you about 1980. You know what I'm saying? Point being, you go forward and you say this, and I've been there before and I've been his age before. I am going to get these hats out the way. Jackson State, unzip the jacket, put it on. Oh, woo. And everybody say, yeah. And you know what's the problem with doing that as a campaign? Now it's time to work. Now it's time to go through 4-year experience. Now it's time to put in all of that is necessary to get to where you got to go. And do you really want to be there? you committed somewhere else. I know they decommit all the time. But if you decommit and it's not because of your authentic reasons, but you're doing it for the greatness of others, and then those others don't necessarily need that from you, as Deion is like, no, I'm good. I'll be here for a minute, but maybe not for an hour. I just wonder where this young man is in terms of what he's thinking going forward. But good luck to you, big dog, and hopefully you got the NIL deal. I hope those rumors ain't true. Coming up, Steph Curry broke the three-point record last night. Tell you who has had a bigger impact in NBA, Steph Curry or LeBron James. You really having that conversation? That's next. Don't speak for yourself. Steph Curry made history last night, breaking Ray Allen's all-time three-point record in Madison Square Garden. After the win, Steve Kerr says Steph has, quote, changed the way the game is played. LeBron James was watching and sent out congratulations to Curry. The King, I say the King, tweeted, just landed in Dallas to see Steph Curry broke the record. And to make it even doper, he did it in the Garden. Wow. Congrats, brother. Oh, incredible. Got to bring in Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher. But Acho, who has had the bigger impact on the game, Steph Curry or LeBron James?
Top 5 most difficult question I will be asked, and speak for yourself.
Okay.
But my answer
ain't that hard. Come on.
LeBron James.
Oh, yes!
No, this one hurts. This one hurts. Let's not celebrate. It's like rejoicing at death. Okay, stop celebrating.
Oh, wow. Who died?
It's hurt. My affection, my affinity for Steph Curry. Okay, stop rejoicing this.
The truth killed him?
It's LeBron James. It's close. It's close. Here's why it's LeBron James, and we got to be honest. The biggest impact you can have on basketball is deciding who wins NBA championships. You play basketball to win NBA championships. You don't play to revolutionize style. You don't play to break backboards and revolutionize and change how rims and backboards are built, Shaq. You don't change, again, to revolutionize style, AI. You don't change the game just by revolutionizing the way we shoot. Shout out to Steph. You change the game by dictating who wins championships. Period. That is the biggest way to impact the game of basketball. And LeBron James has done that. 15 consecutive years, the NBA championship has gone through LeBron James. I repeat, 15 consecutive years. From 2007, when LeBron went, to 8, 9, and 10, when the Celtics had to beat LeBron, the Magic had to beat LeBron, and the Celtics had to beat LeBron to go. 2011 to 14, LeBron went with the Heat. Then from 15 to 18, LeBron went again with the Cavs. Then in 19, by the grace of God for everybody else, or rather 19, LeBron gets hurt. Then in 20, LeBron's with the Lakers, and he goes again. Then in 21, the Suns have to beat LeBron to go. 15 consecutive years, a decade and a half, LeBron James dictated who was winning rings. Either LeBron was winning rings, you were beating LeBron in the finals to win a ring, or you had to ask LeBron, if you would allow, can I please kindly get past you in an Eastern Conference Finals game so that I can go to the NBA Finals? Oh, you allow? Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
and
King.
you had to get past the King to win a ring. That's the only reason, and it is a large reason, why LeBron has had a bigger impact.
Acho, right answer, partially right explanation.
Okay.
It is LeBron James. However, the reason is because Steph Curry broke an NBA record. LeBron James broke the NBA. The decision changed not just how free agency is handled, but the entire power structure of the NBA. What we saw Kawhi Leonard do to go to the Clippers, or Kevin Durant do to get to the Brooklyn Nets, which was essentially be not only a great player, but the architect of where he wanted to play and who he wanted to play with. All of that started with LeBron James. Before LeBron James and the decision, free agents didn't give up money. They didn't take short contracts. They didn't dictate where they were going to go and who they were going to play with. That is what LeBron James has done. And whether you like the impact that it's had on the league or not, the fact of the matter is he started it and it has revolutionized the game. When you talk about Steph Curry, when Steve Kerr talks about Steph Curry changing the way the game is played, he's talking about on the court, and I'm not even sure I would make that argument. But nonetheless, we're talking simply about the game and how it's played on the court. LeBron James changed how the game is played in sports, because we've seen now other great players in other sports. Aaron Rodgers, the whole episode in Green Bay over the summer, was that not inspired by seeing LeBron James and others be able to dictate in the NBA, not just where they're playing, not just how much they make, but who they're playing with and the structure of their team? So LeBron James's impact is not just on the NBA. It is on sports in general. And that trumps Steph Curry setting the record for most three-pointers in the NBA career-wise.
Yeah, I understand why we're asking this question on this day because of Steph Curry's amazing accomplishment. But let's not lose sight of who's the more amazing player with the greater impact. It's LeBron James. I don't need the pregnant pause. I don't need a dramatic effect. It's too damn easy to answer for me to even try to create the theatrics. It's the most hyped prospect in NBA history who may go down as the most accomplished player in NBA history. Do y'all understand the spectrum I just gave y'all? Like, they said he is the king before he even picked up a basketball in the NBA. And when he is done dribbling the basketball in the NBA, he may go down as the most accomplished player ever. Now, what does accomplishment look like? This guy's going to be the leading scorer in NBA history. We're talking about assists. We're talking about rebounds. Like, LeBron James has an opportunity to lead the NBA in major statistical categories. Now, it's not fair to compare LeBron James to Steph Curry, but who said life is fair? Let's compare them. LeBron James has 17 All-NBA appearances. Can y'all drop the first digit? Because Steph has 7. LeBron James has 17 All-Star appearances. Can you drop the first digit? Because Steph Curry has 7. LeBron James has 6 All-Defensive Team. And I don't see one for Steph yet. We're not even going to go into the Finals MVP. Look, I don't want to do this. Steph Curry deserves his love today. Give him his flowers.
Do it.
But just don't try to give him a bigger bouquet than my man, the king, LeBron James.
Okay, see, now we're doing too much.
Doing too much.
We're doing too much.
Never too much. Never too
because
much.
You could very easily argue that what Steph has done with his ability is greater than what LeBron has done.
Oh, we doing that race?
Slick
ability? What you mean?
Must I remind you, while they called one person a king, they said that another person doesn't have the size, strength, or lateral quickness to defend shooting guard in the league, and thus he won't be an all-star. Well, they had one person on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
He won't make it.
They said that another person's first step leaves much to be desired, and it's more likely that he's going to have a problem beating dudes off the dribble. While they gave one person a crown, they said another's probably never going to be a star because he lacks explosiveness. So, if we want to talk about that impact, Sel, then we also have to talk about the impact of the fact of Steph Curry has allowed Trae Youngs to be Trae Youngs. Let's talk about the fact that Steph Curry has given the freedom for Dame Lillard to hit such big shots and wave bye to the likes of Paul George and whatnot.
Chill.
Because without Steph Curry, those shots aren't being attempted with that kind of confidence. Without Steph Curry, Ice Trae isn't Ice Trae. Without Steph Curry, the league looks a lot different. We will see much more duplicates of Steph Curry than we will see duplicates of LeBron. So right now, in the here and now, it's much easier to say LeBron's had a bigger impact. But Slick Rick, I would be hard-pressed to believe an argument could come against what I'm going to say we will see much more duplicates of Steph Curry going forward, and we might in 5 to 10 years from now reflect and say Steph had a bigger impact because we're much more likely to see reincarnations of Steph Curry than we are to see reincarnations of LeBron James. And imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Look at this.
Steph will be imitated, whereas LeBron James will not and can.
Get him, Slick, get him.
Emmy, you work so hard, you might need to take the rest of the show off. You work so hard on that argument to make it work. And I agree with you. See, this is the slick thing that he does, Marcellus, is he says something that you can't help but agree with, and then he's going to say, so I made my point, right? So I agree with you. There's more likely to be another Steph Curry than there is to be another LeBron James. And I agree with you that Steph Curry has made the absolute most out of what his God-given abilities were, certainly physically. And the argument can be made that he's done more with that than LeBron James has with his. But We're talking about impact on the game. And I can't even give Steph Curry full credit for what Steve Kerr is giving him credit for, which is this transformation of the game and the use of the three-point shot. If we really want to give fair credit, we have to start with Mike D'Antoni and Steve Nash in 7 seconds or less. Because when does Steph Curry hit those deep threes? He hits them on the break. He doesn't stand out at 35 feet and we're going to run our offense to get him a 35, 40-footer. He's going to pull up and shoot it. That used to, if you did that 10 years ago, you would have been on the bench and you might not have gone back in, regardless of whether you hit it or not. So we have to give Mark Jackson credit because he's the one who encouraged Steph Curry to take those shots. Steve Kerr, because he created an offense that opened it up for Steph Curry. They took advantage of what Steph Curry was capable of doing. But there's a long line of people that contributed to making this possible. And so, and including the rules, the fact that a guy with Steph's physical stature didn't have to be in the weight room for 2 years before he was physically strong enough to get that shot off. So there are any number of contributing factors. And I'm with you on this. Look, it's like Seabiscuit versus War Admiral. We're all going to love Seabiscuit because it's the little engine that could. He's defying the expectation. But does that make him ultimately better than War Admiral? If you remember the movie, no, ultimately it didn't. So I love Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry's story. I love what he's accomplished. I love Steph Curry as a person almost more than I do as a player. He's everything that I would want in a superstar player. But if we're answering the question, who has had the most impact, I got to take my heart out of the equation, and I have to use my eyes and my head. And my eyes and my head say, without question, without question. It's not a pause. It's not a hesitation.
Thank you.
It's LeBron James.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let me say this clearly, let me say this concisely. I got to give Steph his flowers because Acho and I sometimes have this brother rivalry going between Kevin Durant and Steph Curry about who's the better player, Kevin Durant. So we have that argument. I don't like you, Acho, Kevin Durant again. Here's the thing. Steph's game allows for duplicates. I give you that. LeBron's game allows for duplicates as well. There's just one problem, Acho. God won't allow for LeBron James duplicates. Because golly, 6'8", 260 coming down from hello to goodbye, being the best in the game. Ain't no duplicates. Let's talk about the blueprint that Steph Curry is out there actually duplicating. He talks about this. Steph Curry is nothing but a bowl of gumbo mixed between Steve Nash and Reggie Miller and his daddy's insight. He talks about this. He said, Daddy told me to play point guard. Daddy told me also to get a quick shot. Daddy also told me to use the off ball to get into the marathon and endurance of running through screen after screen. And then he said he watched. And he said, damn, Steve Nash can get to any spot he wants to efficiently. And man, Reggie Miller tired somebody out and run around screen after screen because Reggie Miller was out there playing with the elephants and giraffes and big boy ball. And then Steph just says, you know what? I'm going to do what they did, but do it a little better. I respect that. We all are trying to improve on the design, except there's one that we can't duplicate. There's one design they ain't going to improve on, and it's the king. It's LeBron James. Staying with the NBA? Don't miss your chance to win $25,000 tonight playing Fox Bet Super 6. God, I love the king. Players have won over $5.5 million in cash and prizes, and there are winners every week. Scan the QR code right now and pick the outcomes of 6 NBA games for your shot to win. It's free to play. Coming up, CeeDee Lamb already has his bags packed for the Super Bowl in L.A. Hope they ain't fake Louis. We'll tell you if we love or hate his comments. Next on Speak for Yourself. Let's get back to the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb was interviewed by Snoop Dogg. What's up, SNOOP, D-O-G-G, and Jamie Foxx, XX, Sunday. And Snoop will be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show and asked the Cowboys receiver a great question. Listen to the question.
Are you and the Cowboys going to be joining me at the Super Bowl this year?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Come on, you know that. Come on,
well, I'm going to have it laid out for you, CeeDee. Say less. I'm just saying, I had to ask. That's what they want to know. I'll see you when you get here.
Okay, now Acho had to go take care of some business, but I'm bringing in Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. So, Greg, G-R-E to the G. Do you love or hate CeeDee Lamb saying this?
I love it. Come on, man. Let's be honest. He's on with Snoop and Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
Peacock Television. Like, you're getting interviewed and you're asked, you gonna join me? But shizzle, my bro, shizzle, Snoop D-O double. Just like I'm sitting here right now. Marcelo, I have no desire. I have no plans to go to the Super Bowl. However, if I was sitting on that interview and Snoop or Jamie asked me, "Hey, you coming out to LA?" I'm be like, "Yeah, you know, I'm thinking about coming out there." You know, man, it's just gonna come out. Yeah. There's nothing else that he has to say other than, of course. That's the only correct answer if you are a current player playing and your team is actually in position to go and enter into the playoffs. So, yeah, I have no problem with CeeDee Lamb doing this. Now, they got to back it up. But this isn't putting any type of pressure on their team because this is their expectation anyway. Every single team in the National Football League that has a shot right now is saying, we got a chance to go do something special. The Dallas Cowboys seriously have a legitimate shot to do something special, and they just may end up in front of Snoop D-O double jizzle.
I love it. I love it. What you said, Greg. I don't love what CeeDee Lamb said, but I also don't hate it. Like, what the dude's supposed to say? Like, he got caught in a pickle right here. It's funny. It's funny because you got to always know context matters, right? When in Rome, do as the Romans do, as they say. When you're talking to a rapper, it's time to rap. What do most rappers do? First song you ever heard from them, first album you ever heard from them. They talking about all the millions of dollars they got, the yachts, and everywhere around the world they've been. You're like, hold on. Ain't you talking about you in the projects and you talking about doing all that? Because rappers lie. So even if CeeDee Lamb is in this position, just lie. Like, you talking to a rappers. It's okay. It's the time to lie, and it's okay. That said, man, look, when they ask the question, you are caught between doing the right thing and the wrong thing. And let me take you back into my experience. My godma, Jackie Blackett, always says that, Marcellus, you say the right thing, but you're still wrong. And I never knew what she meant by that. But now, CeeDee Lamb, thanks for making her lesson hit home. CeeDee Lamb, you can either say the right thing in this moment, which is, well, there are going to be 14 teams that qualify for the playoffs, and you know what, God jolly, we'll see who makes it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's the right thing to say, Russell Wilson style, but it's the wrong thing to say to Snoop and Jamie Foxx. But if you flip it, you can say the wrong thing, which is, hell yeah, I'm up in that thing. You know it's going down. But that's the wrong thing to say, but maybe it's the right thing to do. So I don't know where he was caught, but I'm not loving it. I'm not hating it. I'm just saying what he's supposed to say.
I'm with Greg. I not only love what he said, I love how he said it. Because he's asked the question. Marcellus, I'll throw it to you, man. If he had said, we got 14 teams, I don't know, like, I hope, like, we'd be talking, we do 2 segments on that. Like, what the hell's wrong with CeeDee Lamb? Yeah. He knows where Jerry Jones has put the meter. The bar is set on winning a Super Bowl. He has no other choice. And by the way, he's a 22-year-old second-year player from Opelousas, Louisiana, and he's talking to Snoop Dogg and Jamie Foxx. And they're saying, are you coming to L.A. with us? I go, I don't even play. If I'm not even playing for the Cowboys, I'm coming to L.A. to hang out with you, Snoop. Hell yeah. So I thought he handled it perfectly because he said, yes, indeed. And then he kind of laughed and he acknowledged, what else you want me to say, huh? Like, what else am I supposed to say? So for a guy who's 22, who was put on the spot, talking to 2 entertainment legends. My hat is off to CeeDee Lamb on the way he handled it because I don't know how you handle it better.
You handle it the exact way he handled it. He had fun with it. He laughed it off, but he also gave his true sentiments. And his sentiments should be, yes, I'm joining you. Why? Because they lead their division. Now, we can flip it. If he was talking to, let's say, Jalen Hurts or Tyler Heineke, you think You think they're going to say no? They're going to be like, yeah, we doing everything we can to meet up with you, Snoop. We going to be there. You know what I mean? That's just your natural, like you said, Marcellus, when you're talking to individuals like Snoop, Jamie Foxx, influencers, and you're on that platform, and those are real celebrities. You know what? Like, that is
Greg,
celebrity.
Jamie Foxx is from Texas. He's wearing a jersey. He's wearing a Cowboys jersey. Like, you play for the Cowboys and you're going to say to Jamie Foxx, I don't know. Maybe. I think you can't possibly do that in that situation.
Nah, when you're hanging out with one of the greatest rappers of all time and probably the greatest entertainer in terms of all of his talents of all time in Jamie Foxx, it ain't the time to be out there humble. It ain't the time to be out there acting like, oh, you know what? I don't really believe in myself. That's the time to shine when you're around that level of star power. And I get it, because Snoop's going to be at the Super Bowl regardless. Like, Snoop, like, I'm performing. It's in L.A. in my backyard. It's in Inglewood. I got my camp set up in Inglewood. All that's going to happen. That said, CD, there's a price of admission as well. And you got to understand it costs to be the boss or around the boss in Snoop Dogg. I know this personally because even though I was retired, you want to talk about that level of celebrity? I was with my daughter, and I had one of those moments where she's 21. That's her. Hey, Monk, what's up, baby? So she's 21, and she's like, Daddy, I want to meet Snoop. Now, I don't know if that's a cigarette or not, but the point is, that's my daughter, and that's Snoop Dogg.
You know what that is.
I had a moment at the Super Bowl with Snoop where my daughter was starstruck, and this is so funny. She's starstruck, so now she caught between being who she really want to be and who she want to impress Daddy to be, right? And I'm looking at her like, I get it. It's star after star after star. She's like, oh, my God, that's Snoop. And I'd love to get a picture with Snoop. I said, say less, home girl. So then I'm walking through, I'm watching, I don't know who they are. They just famous, all of them, A-listers. And I'm like, excuse me. Snoop, what it do? He say, Dub, what up, boy? We go get it. My daughter get the picture. I don't know why I'm telling this story. Only reason I'm telling this story is CD Lamb. If you ain't gonna be like me, which is just walk up to the homie and say, hey, you ain't playing, I ain't playing, then you know what you need to do. Say less. Get on that field, get these Cowboys over the hump, and get them into SoFi so that you're not seeing them like I'm seeing them. You seeing them with them pads on.
Yeah, I saw Snoop get out of his limo at the NBA All-Star game in Denver and the cloud that followed him. So I can tell you what he had in his hand there for sure. I was there for that live. The only problem that I have with CD Lamb's performance in this interview is who was holding the damn camera, man. I needed Dramamine watching that stuff, man. If you watch the whole deal, that is all over the place. Come on, somebody work with that, man, because that was difficult. But no. Again, looking at social media, looking at how saying the wrong, not even the wrong thing, just something somebody can take out of context and blow it up. CD Lamb accomplished or actually avoided that by, as Greg said, he answered the question. He answered it authoritatively, but he did it with a smile and then said, come on, Unc, how else am I supposed to say it? I thought he played it perfectly because we don't have a real deal. Marcellus, you're trying to debate this. You know the truth. CD handled his business. He didn't go wrong on this, and there was a lot of ways he could have gone wrong. Yeah,
some good wishful thinking. Fake it till you make it, right? And every football player I know has been to that pep rally, usually in high school, and you're sitting there, and you got that microphone. Woo! We're going to win state this year. I remember I said that my senior year. We were 0-10. Coming up, my Chargers host Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs tomorrow night. Tell you if KC should be worried about the boats. Yes, they should. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. No matter what you say, what you know. The Chiefs will look for revenge after a Week 3 loss against the Chargers as they visit L.A. tomorrow night on Fox. KC is red hot with 6 straight wins and are a 3-point favorite according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Tyrann Mathieu added, quote, this game is probably the most important game we've played up to this point. Damn right. So, Slick, should the Chiefs be worried about my Chargers?
Hell yeah, they should be worried about them. I know they're on a 6-game winning streak. That feels good, doesn't it, Marcellus?
Say it again. Damn right.
But, hey, no question. Aside from what I saw them do to my Cincinnati Bengals, look, the San Diego Chargers defense is hitting its stride We know what their offense is capable of, but the defense has probably played 2 of its best consecutive games. But more important, on the other side of the ball, Kansas City Chiefs, yes, have won 6 in a row. And I know that there's plenty of Chiefs fans out there, one of them who took off early from this show, that believe that that is now the signal that they are on their way to a Super Bowl. But if you parse who they've played and how they've accomplished those, we think of their offense being the driving force, Patrick Mahomes being the driving force of their success. It's been their defense. 3 weeks in a row, they held opponents to 9 points. That's impressive as hell. But that said, they're going to be going into this Thursday night game most likely without Chris Jones, without Jadarius Sneed, without Willie Gay. They're coming into this compromised on the side of the ball that has been most instrumental in them getting things done. And I dare say, because they faced a Cowboys team that wasn't playing very well offensively, this is going to be the best offense that they face over the previous 6 games. And oh, by the way, 5 out of those 6 wins were in the cozy confines of Arrowhead Stadium, and this game will not be. So for all of those reasons, they better be worried about the I almost did it.
Do it.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
Do it.
Because
Do it.
no kidding. Because the Chargers have demonstrated that they deserve that kind of respect. And I'm not convinced that these 6 wins in a row is a true sign that the Kansas City Chiefs are being back to the Kansas City Chiefs of old.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought it was a trick question. Should they be worried about the Chargers? Yeah. Didn't we already beat these dudes? You're not worried about the guys that already beat y'all? Oh, no, because we better right now. So are they. Let's talk about these Chargers right now. Needing the respect of the masses, certainly of these Kansas City Chiefs. Why? Because respect is earned, not given. And the Chargers already took the respect against these Chiefs. Do you know that Justin Herbert has only lost 1 game against the Chiefs? Beat them twice. And Cluton took him to overtime. You remember that time? First game ever. He's in pregame warm-up thinking he's still a backup. Tyrod Taylor, we know what happened with Tyrod Taylor. Next thing you know, he's like, oh, I got to play? Oh, I'm fine. I'll just take the Kansas City Chiefs all the way to overtime, and that's the only loss he has to these same Chiefs. Justin Herbert is playing better than Patrick Mahomes right now. We all know that. Look at the stats: completion percentage, passer rating, touchdown to interception ratio, yards per game. That guy right there, Justin Herbert. And he's leading the charge. Everyone talks about the Chiefs won 6 straight. Yeah, I respect that. Chargers have won 3 of the last 4. And Cluton scoring over 37 points in those 3 wins. So you got to put some respect on the Chargers' name. But if you don't want to give them that, they're going to earn it tomorrow night.
You know what? As much as I want to just challenge you, just because it's you, Marcellus, and that just makes the show just that much better.
Right.
I'm all in with you. I'm all in with you, Rick. Like, yes. And I'm, as much as I would love to respect, and I do respect the Kansas City Chiefs and their run and what they've done. I don't care who they're playing. When you put together a streak of 6, it's impressive in the National Football League. However, the LA Chargers have a guy under center that, matter of fact, let's not even get to him. Let's talk about the personnel, the management. They're looking at it from a perspective of, well, you got Patrick Mahomes. Well, guess what? We got somebody too. And he wears number 10. And he's younger. And he's only in his 2nd year. And we have all these nice weapons around him and behind him. And we have a defense that can strike hot when we're healthy, when we have all our guys on the field. We can do something special. They believe that we got a young head coach who's vibrant, who's innovative, who's creative, who's understanding of making mid-game adjustments. Just might be the tip of the hat that we need that gives us the nod. But let's talk about this young man, that quarterback, Justin Herbert. This is why they should be worried, because the throw that he made last week in that game, this is why you worry about players like Justin Herbert, because the same respect that goes before Patrick Mahomes, because of his capability and his potential to make any throw at any given time and strike fire immediately, that's the same thing they got on the other sideline with Justin Herbert. A guy that will do that, understand that he's in pressure, step up, make a 60-yard throw in the air, and strike money. pay dirt. This kid is special. You worry about quarterbacks like this. If you didn't have this type of quarterback, then yeah, okay, they could be a good team, but you feel like, yeah, we got them. But when you have a quarterback that can make every single throw, that is mobile, that can get out the pocket with his legs, that makes everybody around him better, you got to be worried about that. So Tyrann Mathieu is spot on when he's saying this is a team that we got to respect. And he understands they kind of got our number right now. This is our chance to really solidify this win streak that we've gone on and make sure that we're headed in the right direction and that we're not going to forego our first place in the division, because if they slip this up to the Chargers, they're first place in the division.
Think about this, guys. The Chargers went into Arrowhead Stadium and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They went into Arrowhead Stadium and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You take the Kansas City Chiefs out of Arrowhead Stadium, should they not respect them even more? And we're hearing them say that. So to your point, Marcellus, I do think it's a bit of a trick question. And Greg, I love where you went, because these Chargers, largely because of Justin Herbert, feel like the Kansas City Chiefs of 2 years ago. That young, hungry, coming team where you just look at that X factor that's under center that can turn the game at any point. And you talked about the pass last week, but I've seen those passes by Justin Herbert all year long. And there were times where the Chargers collectively as a team weren't good, and yet they still looked dangerous because of the guy under center. Every time he had the ball in his hands, you're thinking he could do something magical here. He could do something that's going to pull the game back. And you guys know it better than I do. When you're on the field playing with someone that keeps you on pins and needles because it's that Aaron Rodgers effect. You think you've done your job. You think you have him contained. You think you've got the coverage, and then he still beats you, and you know that's possible. That is a mental advantage that is difficult to beat. And I feel as if for all the things that the Chargers, look, there's a lot of things that they can do better and they need to get better at. But that one X factor, man, you better respect that, because if you just slip up a little bit, you know that he's going to take full advantage of it.
See, I love when we're in agreement, because now we can go deeper. We can layer this conversation, can really get into the nuance of it all, because we ain't sitting here just arguing our points. Let's be real about it. I'm going to put myself on the Kansas City Chiefs team. Coming into the season, I was thinking, hey, we got Patrick Mahomes. We know we good. Now, I look at the L.A. Chargers, and they have Justin Herbert, who's playing better than Patrick Mahomes is right now. Oh, you know what? We hang our hat on Patrick Mahomes no matter what. And of late, we've been looking great. Okay, let's look at of late how great you've been looking. We see the 20 points you scored against the Giants, the 13 points you went out there and scored against Green Bay. We see the 19 points you scored against the Cowboys. We see the 22 points you scored against the Broncos. Oh, but the Raider games. That's where you get your confidence from. And look at the defense. We have held our last 3 opponents to 9 points. You know what the problem is? The Chargers defense is better. You know what the problem is? The Charger defense gets more sacks than you. You know what the problem is? The Chargers have a better turnover ratio than you guys. So if you don't have the better quarterback, you don't have the better defense, you don't get at the opposing quarterback as well as the Chargers, where's really this confidence coming from? Yesteryear. Oh, you know how it used to be. And anytime I see somebody talk about how it used to be, I'm about to show them how it is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, everything that we're saying it's fact. And I think I go to, if I'm in that locker room and I'm in the Chargers locker room, just like you just did, Marcellus, I see everything that they have, and I feel like we got it too.
We got it too.
You got a great receiver. We got a few of them. You got a good running pass attack. We got that too. You got a good quarterback. You know what? I feel like mine is even better. I believe everything that makes the Chiefs great is what makes the Chargers great. And so when you look in the mirror and you see that reflection and it's like you looking back at you, oh yeah, you're a little concerned because you know it only takes one punch. And matter of fact, it doesn't matter when that punch happens, because if I'm in striking distance, I can win the game. And that's what Justin Herbert has proven, even against the Chiefs. Late in the game, give me minutes on the clock, seconds on the clock. I can take my team down, put them in position, and we can win the game. That is all you need to give your team confidence. And he has done it over and over and over again. That's why this team must worry about the Chargers.
Man, Chiefs and Charger fans, they should be excited. Either we just gave them the greatest preview ever, or Freezing Cold Takes got more damn than they need from this segment right here. We'll see. Hopefully it's the Chargers.